One of the things I will always argue when it comes to games is that whatever shortcomings an entry may have, they can be ironed out in a sequel. They are important because that's where developers can redirect things that had to be cut from one release and expand on it, or better yet, take the things that worked out and improve on them. That's what UbiArt did with Rayman Legends. I already spent an entire video expressing my love for Rayman Origins. It was a pretty amazing game, so I came into this one excited, and what I got was honestly even better than what I had expected. So before I elaborate, let's go ahead and cover what little bases there are. After the events of Origins, Rayman and his friends went on to take a short 100-year nap. The problem is that this allowed the main antagonist of the previous game to rise in power and unleash even worse nightmares into the Glade of Dreams, and multiplying himself into 5 troublemakers called the Dark Teensies. So now it's up to the recently awakened Rayman and his friends to venture into the many paintings of the Glade, liberate the captive Teensies, and get rid of the nightmares. And that's about all you need to know. On paper, there isn't really too much changes in the gameplay department. If you're familiar with Origins, then you will feel at home here, but with one fun catch. Everything that made Origins great is even better here. Starting with what I'm going to call the level flow. You want to feel like the journey from point A to point B is smooth and exciting, but you also want to make sure the player feels good while exploring. Every level in this game is signposted in a way where you are facing the challenge of enemies and obstacles, but can also wind up finding little secrets if you know where to look. This type of level flow can come with a small trapping. You can have level segments that run the risk of breaking the flow because you will notice there is something missable or a sequence you could accidentally break and sidetrack yourself into trying to redo it, if not restarting the entire level, because the game has more checkpoints and you can potentially lock yourself out. So Legends improves on this by restructuring what you need to 100% complete the level and making it so it's a lot easier to get it the first time around, or to make you want to do a second run so you can do a perfect sweep. I'll explain. The main collectible you need this time around to unlock new levels and advance the story is rescuing Teensies. Depending on the levels, you can rescue either 3 or 10 Teensies in total. Unlike the Electons that requires you to jump through a lot more hoops, you can rescue all of the Teensies in one run if you know what you are doing. They are scattered around in a way that you need to do one small extra jump, carefully get close to a danger zone, or even just get them along the way if you are doing a set piece. This helps the flow because now you don't have to interrupt your journey. To the contrary, more often than not, you're just going to stumble upon them. But that doesn't mean you are going to find all of them by just moving forward, because the traditional hidden rooms from the last game make a comeback. They are short and simple, but there is also something super compelling about wanting to get it right the first time. Because again, the flow of the gameplay makes it all the more satisfying, and it mixes well with your own reaction times. Game flow like this, of course, needs a variety of levels for it to work out well. Moving from A to B is nice, but sometimes the fun little obstacle course can turn into a variety of things. You can have a controlled descent as spiked vines and a number of other hazards try to kill you in midair. You can be having a little obstacle course through foot scraps while trying not to get scrapped yourself. You can have a swim in dark and dangerous waters where almost everything is out to kill you if you get caught. You can be infiltrating a secret facility, dodging lasers, and every other danger the security system and staff throw your way. Or you can be going through a labyrinth of sorts, solving one room at a time and feeling really smart figuring it all out. And these are just a few examples. Each of the 5 main worlds left me surprised with how I was having a different experience, so neither of the levels nor the themes of each painting outstayed their welcome. It made hunting for teensies and other secrets all the more fun. The best part is, aside from unlocking other levels, you also get to unlock other player characters. One grievance I had about Origins was how most of the unlockable characters were just teensies wearing different costumes. This game thankfully tones them down and instead gives you multiple ways to unlock characters. My one instant favorite being the princesses. One set of twins per world, each of them with their own unique costumes, and making hunting for them or gathering looms to unlock the other characters all the more fun. As I played through these paintings, I couldn't help but notice the finale in each one carried an interesting 3-act structure. First, you get a chase sequence against one of the Dark Teensies. Then, you have a climactic battle against the boss of each world, which in itself ramps up the fun even further. And then, when it's all done and the Dark Teensy has been defeated, you get to enjoy a little musical number. This is where everything I said about the game flow comes to a head. You have to run through an obstacle course without stopping to the sound of some pretty amazing Rayman theme covers of beloved musical classics. Sadly, I cannot play any of them here because I'd be risking a copyright claim, but trust me, they are the best part of each world, and I could not believe my eyes as I was playing through each. They are crafted in a way that you are turning a platformer into a rhythm game, and there is not enough words to express how much I love it. What I wish I had loved more, however, was the post-game and some of the extra content. It's gonna sound weird for me to say this because I already went out of my way to insist this game surpasses the already great Origins, but I need to talk about it because I didn't think it would affect me this much alongside other little problems. Okay, so by itself, the main 5 paintings of the game are fantastic. Making it to the end and rolling credits is more than enough to say that this is a classic. During the post-game, however, I found there is an extra 6 painting. It basically has a harder, more chiptune-ish version of the musical finales of the main worlds. Harder because each one has visual effects that make it very difficult to tell where you are supposed to jump or attack or remove obstacles. Obviously, the secret to beating this is replaying the original level so you know when to jump or attack alongside the musical cues. The problem for me is that it gave me motion sickness. I had to stop playing for the day after trying one, and I am not going to show them here just in case. It may be a me thing, but I really don't want to experience them again. I do have one last grievance though. See, one last extra the game gives you is the Back to Origins paintings. You unlock these with the lucky tickets. I thought that these would be Origins themed levels that will let you mess around the old worlds with the improved platforming system, but instead, it was a letdown. They basically copy-pasted the entire Origins levels into Legends, which in itself isn't bad. It's just that I was expecting a bit more than that. You know what I was not expecting though? To embrace speedrunning. Rather than putting a timer on each of the main levels, the game instead implemented the invasion paintings. Let me tell you right now, I am not a speedrunner by any means. You will only find me doing speedrunning if the game design hooks me that good, and the invasion paintings did this for me because every single one of them require you to finish them in 40 seconds, if you want to rescue all 3 teensies. They all are challenging with no room for error, and better yet, they embody the gameplay flow. As I'm writing this, I have completed every invasion painting the game has thrown at me. There are some post-game paintings I may have to end up giving up on, but that's okay, because the ones I did complete were just great and left me satisfied for having accepted the challenge. Regardless of frustration of getting stuck, because once you figure it out, it's just the best feeling. Just as good as it feels to fight the bosses in this game. This time they decided to ramp up the spectacle, combining both the flow of the platforming with the fun craziness of a shoot 'em up. But rather than let you spam bullets for an easy win, you still needed to wait for an opening and endure whatever the boss throws your way. They were not the hardest, but I was still having the time of my life, because it still felt like everything I had learned from the game at that point was being put to the test. Even when it's not super hardcore, it was still a major payoff for having passed every other obstacle, and of course, opening you up to put the dark TNCs in their place before you head into those amazing musical levels. So with everything said and done, I stand by everything I said. Rayman Legends is an amazing title and a fantastic follow-up to Origins. Even if the extra content let me down a little bit, the main levels are still a treat, and I can see myself returning to this game every now and then, even if it's just for the fun of it. As I virtually saw everything that needs to be seen without having to do the ice training levels or spending hours on the endgame paintings. Much like with Origins, I strongly recommend it. Get it while you still can, because Ubisoft is a terrible company and you never know when it will be delisted. Now that I have played both UbiArt Rayman games, I think more than ever I am excited to one day play Prince of Persia: The Lost King, because that was the last game this team made before Ubisoft disbanded them and spread them across other studios. And once again, I must say that I am sad that I didn't get to play this game sooner, or how big companies keep punishing their studios regardless of success. Not every game needs to be an industry landscape changer. Sometimes, all you need to do is make a game with a decent budget to complement your bigger releases. That way, you can continue pushing the envelope and keep the lights on, while also making sure your audience can stay pleased and happy.